Welcome back to another can of worms. We are here with Chris.
Hey.
Brian. Thanks.
He's muted this time. Wasn't me this time.
And Cedric.
Yo, what's shaking, man?
Damn it, I was muted.
I can't believe this. How is it that I do this twice and somebody's muted both times? Today we talk about EVO, or Evolution Championship Series, the largest fighting game tournament every single year, no competition. This is usually hosted out of Vegas, huge event that happens in August every year, but it didn't happen last year. And before I get into why, the big news on what's happening with EVO, not only was it announced this year for an online spectator setup, they haven't said anything about how tournament registration is going to work for it, if it's going to be invite only or what. But in August,
Is it typically?
no. But last year, because of COVID and all this other stuff, it was originally going to be some events having open entry, some events having invite only. But it didn't happen last year because, not because of COVID, but because there was a small issue with its former owner basically being exposed for having child pornography and just being exploitative towards children and young adults, and that's just disgusting. So he was removed quickly, and basically everyone pulled out of it when they found out. No one wanted any part of it, and then the responsibilities of EVO as a company and as a brand went down to its lead advisors, Tony and Tom Cannon. They're also the creators of the thing. And long story short, all of that happened. EVO was ownerless. It didn't happen last year, and no one knew what the results of all this was going to come out to be. Because on top of all of that, Japanese sponsors also pulled their funding from it.
Were they the major sponsors of it?
For the most part. I mean, a lot of it was, because a lot of the games and a lot of the sponsors are Japanese companies. Because you're talking about Namco Bandai for Tekken and Soul Calibur. You're talking about Sega for Blaze Blue, for Guilty Gear, for Grand Blue, for all of the Arc System Works games.
Right, big deal. And they really can't afford to have this for the upcoming year when the new
is that right?
Guilty Gear comes out, right? So they really need to get this squared away. I said they really can't afford to have this be a big deal for when the new Guilty Gear.
I said Sega. I meant to say Arc System Works, and I said Sega because I've been thinking about Persona all day.
Persona Strikers is so fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Get
it if you haven't.
So those are large sponsors and large advertisers as well. So they pull out. No one knows what the landscape of EVO is going to look like. Lo and behold, we get to today, and Sony steps up and buys EVO. So now it's owned by a corporation, a trusted corporation, and specifically it was the PlayStation division of Sony that bought it. Which is, there are some people I've been noticing while I was doing some reading on it, there's some people in the fighting game community that thinks this is a bad thing because, oh no, we're no longer grassroots, we're going to be bought by a company, they're going to basically turn this into a corporate event, and I don't know who the hell you're fooling. It's been a corporate event for a long time. Like, when you get to something to the scope of EVO, something that is at the epicenter of esports, and you're going to say that is now it's no longer grassroots, you're high.
Yeah, we passed that a long time ago, and it's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing that a corporation is getting involved. What you need to be concerned with is it the right corporation? Are they going to listen to the community? Are they going to keep some of those strong pillars in that community on as advisory? I mean,
well, and I'm actually glad you said that, because prior to Sony acquiring EVO, it was previously being, basically the leadership responsibilities were being passed down to the lead advisors, Tony and Tom Cannon, and they are continuing in their position as lead advisors for EVO. So your strong people are still there. They've cared about it since the start, and they're huge FGC community members. And they're very important to the community as respected figures. So those respected figures are still there, and your company has now been bought by an even larger conglomerate that can give funding, that can give organization, that can give advertisement, that can get those sponsors back.
I think it's a good direction, because again, people are gonna be more apt to sponsor with Sony. When they take it over and they go, hey, look, it's gonna have the same kind of regulations that we put on our company. Zero tolerance for any type of sexual abuse, especially when it involves children.
Or drugs.
Or drugs being given to children, or whatever the case may be, right? Like, that's just not how it is. There's absolutely going to be some changes that people don't like, because it is a corporation and they've got to look out for their best interest. That's just how corporations and life works, guys. But tournaments are going to continue, which is a good thing. Seems like they do care about the community, because they're keeping that core advisory in place. And really only time will tell whether this is going to be an absolutely great thing or maybe a miss. But I think as a community, you guys don't have much of a choice but to go ahead and see how this works out. Unless you want to start up your own thing, and that's an option too, sure. But that's gonna set the fighting game community back a while.
Yeah.
Also, can they afford that? I mean, fighting games are doing okay, but they're not anywhere near where they were in like the 90s, are they?
Not at all.
Oh no, they're huge. They're way bigger than they were in the past.
Are you shitting me?
No, absolutely. They're booming. Street Fighter V is one of the most successful PlayStation games on the platform.
Are you
Tekken
really?
7 is one of the best-selling games of all time.
I just here's what I need from the fighting game industry. If you guys are listening, I'm knocking on the window. Guys, you're gonna knock it out the park if you enable crossplay for PC and console. PC gamers so bad want to be competitive in these games, because fighting games are great to be competitive in. And fighting games are the one exception, take notes Blizzard, where you can create it with a solid core foundation and kind of just let it be. Because you can jump in and out as much as you want. You can dedicate as much time as really you want to. And if you really want to be competitive, there's enough mechanics in it to where you've got to study it to be competitive. So it's a perfect type of game for this. But the PC community is begging for a solid game, not a crappy port on their play base, and for it to be cross-platform, so we can challenge these guys. Like that's I'm telling you, you're gonna see success.
The thing is all that is a solved science, because Killer Instinct back in 2013 did exactly that, and to this day it's still one of the most actively played online fighting games.
Which is weird, because I own that game and I played it like twice. I keep forgetting I own it. It's on
I can play that sometime. Oh, I love Killer Instinct.
I do too. I love the original one. God.
But all of this Evo stuff, that is good news. But one of the bigger events has always been Smash Brothers, and Nintendo, after all of this stuff came out with Sony buying it, this is the actual verbiage from a Nintendo spokesperson after this news broke. Nintendo has enjoyed engaging with fans at past Evo tournaments and wish the show's organizers the best with their new venture. We will continue to assess Evo and other opportunities as we plan for future online and offline Smash Brothers tournament activity. So basically,
that makes sense, right? That makes sense.
Here's the thing. Smash Brothers Ultimate is one of the absolute worst playing online games I've ever fucking experienced in my life. So I'm not shocked that they don't have an answer.
Now, do you think this is going to open up a window for Brawlhalla to kind of pick up steam over Smash?
Well, not pick up steam over Snap. Avenues have become open with this online landscape of Evo that they attempted to do last year, was the integration of less popular games because they have better online functionality, such as Skullgirls, such as Killer Instinct, such as them's fighting herds. Like these and
are amazing.
And Power Rangers Battle for the Grid got some popularity last year because of COVID. All of these games have in common is very well performing online environments, which fucking fighting game needs. I'm fairly confident with the free information that is now available for GGPO that I could create a game that runs off GGPO and it runs online.
It's ensuring digital rights management that makes it difficult. The actual netcode is not as terrible as it sounds, but everything they put in there to try to basically retain their bottom line is what kills it.
Yeah.
And it's a business decision that kills it every single time. It overrides. It overrides the development level decision. And even if the developers like that will kill it, they're like, fuck it, put it in.
I cannot remember the name of the browser game all of a sudden. There is a browser-based fighting game that was released last year that you can just play on Google Chrome, and it had rollback netcode integrated in a browser game. And
Stadia?
I played what?
Stadia? Sorry.
Stop it.
No. But this browser-based fighting game ran better than some of my Blaze Blue Cross Tag games. It ran better than some of my Under Night In-Birth games. It ran better than some of my Street Fighter V games.
Yeah, but what did it look like?
It's a fucking browser game, Brian.
What are your final thoughts, though, on this? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing?
It's
Yes or no?
it's an excellent thing because not only is Evo back, and I'm excited for that because if it's open entry, that means I can compete in it because I don't have to fly to fucking Vegas. So that's good. It's also good in the sense of just the overall community because, I don't know, it's high profile again. To me, it's going to be more high profile than it ever was, maybe after a couple of years at least.